So, first of all, I want to present to you that forgiveness is a choice. You don't have to do it. And I think that being aware that it's a choice will kind of open up some space. Because I know that for a lot of our good intentions, when we try to tell people, well, you should just forgive, we make it sound like it's easy. It isn't, and you don't have to do it. Except for there's what I call a law of forgiveness that we also pray about, as I mentioned in a previous message, that when we say forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, we're asking for the law of forgiveness to apply in our lives. So we know that offering statements or easy statements about forgiveness doesn't really help. Because we know that when we're harmed, regardless of the perceived severity, it has this potential to mess with our self-perception. And sometimes it seems like it's irreparable ways. And as a consequence, our protective mechanisms kick in. And if we ever survived some kind of harm, we're already programmed to not want to go through harm again. So forgiveness is counterintuitive, especially if you've been through something. We figure we survived once and we might not survive again, so we don't want to go through that. And that's a part of the whole challenge of forgiveness, is where forgiveness can seem like a perceived threat or putting ourselves in harm's way. But when forgiveness is presented as a choice that one can make or not make, there's a sense of empowerment. Rather than focusing our attention on whether someone else has power over us, we begin to focus first on our power to choose and then our power of perception. And then we realize that we could hopefully say to ourselves, yes, there are those who have harmed me or mean me harm, but they don't have the power to define me. I choose what's next in my life. We also come to realize that we're more than the stories that we tell. We're the author of those stories, and forgiveness gives us an opportunity to rewrite some of those stories. Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca the Younger said, if you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. So when we forgive, we can't forgive and then remain the same. And that's part of why it's such a difficult choice for many of us to make. Often we experience ourselves as simply characters in the stories that we and others tell about who we are. And in our minds, our identities kind of get attached to those stories. And if our character is shaped solely by what's happened to us, we may unconsciously build many of our life structures around maintaining that arc of that narrative. When we choose to forgive, we disrupt that narrative. And then we thereby become capable of offering a new one. But it does require that we stop identifying with the former narrative, which means becoming a new person, which is